All right. Sorry, wait, what's wrong with me? All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, welcome to Afriq 24-hour TV. This is our political talk show, a show that comes on your screen every evening. That is from wherever you are. We get an opportunity to connect you with African stories and also to discuss matters of politics. I know there's a lot that is happening. So if you're joining me for the first time, kindly ensure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Afriq 24-hour TV. Go to YouTube channel, look for Afriq 24-hour TV, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that whenever we're having this kind of talk shows, we'll always ensure that we notify you. And if you've joined me, ensure that you like the video and share with your friends so that they can also be able to be part of this conversation. There are so many ways that you can interact with me during this show. Of course, I'm going to share on the comment section a link that can lead you to the studio so that you can partake in this conversation. And alternatively, you can also use the same comment section to let me know where you are joining me from. And also you can send your questions, your concerns, and some of the things that you feel we should be discussing using the comment section. Of course, we are live in our YouTube channels. That is Afriq 24-hour. We also live in our Facebook channels, and we are also live on Facebook. That is Afriq 24-hour Leo TV. And of course, we're also live at Leo Nyabaya Facebook page. So if you're joining me for the first time and you've not subscribed to our channels, kindly do so. Look for Afriq 24-hour TV, subscribe, and you can also go ahead, join and become a member of Afriq. Today being 28th May 2024. we're just 4 days to celebrating our Madaraka Day. Of course, this year's Madaraka Day will be celebrated in Bungoma County. Preparations are underway, and Kenyans are really waiting for this kind of celebration. Apart from that, I can also confirm to you that tomorrow, that is 29th of May, 2024, the South Africans will be going for an election. So South Africans, of course, are going to have their general elections, and of course in these general elections they will be able to elect the new National Assembly as well as the provincial legislature in each of the 9 provinces. Remember, they have 9 provinces, and this one will not have to notify that this will be the 7th general election that is going to be held under the conditions of what is called universal adult suffrage since the end of apartheid era in 1994. So after the apartheid era in 1994, for the 7th time, they're going to have an election that is held under conditions of universal adult suffrage, and the people who've reached 18 years and above are eligible to register as voters and participate in this kind of voting. Of course, when I talk of South Africa, you remember Julius Malema. And among the things that are going to be deciding who to vote for, or among the things that are major concerns in South Africa as they're going for the elections, are unemployment, crime, and access to electricity. These are some of the biggest issues that are going to be discussed on that ballot. So you need to know that for the first time, this one is the most unpredictable elections in the country's 30 years of democratic rule. As they are going for the elections tomorrow, nobody is sure of who is going to win. You cannot talk of 2 horse or a horse race, but it is unpredictable. It can go either way. For the first time, there's a lot of pressure that is coming from the opposition parties. And of course, one of our own, the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is the one who is the head of the African Union Elections Observation Mission, that is the AUEOM. Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who is heading that commission, or is the one who is heading the African Union Elections Observation Mission. And yesterday you saw him having some high-level meetings, of which in the meetings they informed the people of South Africa that they don't have a predetermined candidate, or they don't have a predetermined results, but it is upon the South Africans to wake up early in the morning and ensure that they vote the president of their choice. So remember, the former Kenyan president, that is His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, was appointed by the African Union Commission, that is the AUC. Yeah, this is the organ that the leader is retiring, and Raila wants to replace. He's the one who was elected to lead the AUEOM, which consists of 60 short-term observers. They normally have some 60 short-term observers and some 3 core team electoral experts who will always ensure that they observe the elections that are taking place in parts of Africans. And the Kenyan-led team will release its preliminary findings and recommendations of the conduction of the elections. That will be on May 31st. After the elections have been conducted, they'll have to give their report on how the elections were. You normally hear the report like Kenya. We had people like Meg Whitman talking of elections being democratic. So the same is also expected in South Africa. So maybe just to give you brief, I know most of you are following up on the story. I can just give you some briefs about what is going to happen in these elections. You'll find that as South Africa votes, Zimbabwean migrants or the smugglers, they are also anxious about their future, because this election is going to determine whether the migrants from Zimbabwe and some smugglers, people who were accused of some criminal activities in South Africa, will continue residing there, or it depends on the person who is going to become the president. And remember, South Africa's Ramaphosa, he signed the health bill weeks before the election. That one will have to be remembered. So whether he's elected or he's not elected, already before the election, he signed the health bill there. And the South African court ruled that Zuma is not eligible to run for parliament. You get that, he wanted to run for parliamentary elections, but the court ruled he's not eligible. So we know some of the things that are going to determine this. I've told you, just in numbers, South Africa has got a population of 62 million. I think they're slightly 12 million above Kenyan population. They have a total of 9 provinces. Remember, in Kenya, we also used to have, I don't know if there were 8 provinces, before we went to the county system or the regions. South Africa have got 9 provinces, and these 9 provinces, each and every province is having a representative, and they're having the 257 municipalities. And out of the 62 million citizens, only 27.79, around 28 million are registered voters. I don't know how many registered voters we have in Kenya. We're having about 20, so they're about 7.7 million, are more than us. And when I talk of 7.7 million, this is the number of people who voted William Ruto against Raila's 6.9 million voters. So those are some of the numbers as they are going for their elections tomorrow. Another thing you need to know that in South Africa, once you reach 18 years and above, then you are eligible to register as a voter and participate in elections. And just like Kenya, they also have a 5 years presidential term with a limit of 2 terms. That one is just similar to what is happening in Kenya. You can only become a president for 2 terms maximum, and each term consists of 5 years. So let us wish them well and pray that the election gets successful. Let us pray that nothing happens, maybe rigging claims and such kind of things, and maybe make the best candidate win. We know some of the leading candidates there. We are having the famous, some people call him Noisy, and Julius Malema. And Malema has not only promised to make some changes in South Africa, but some of the promises that he's giving are also giving hope to Africans, because Malema has promised that when he is elected, he's going to open the borders. That is one of the things that he really campaigned on. Remember, this is one gentleman who is considered to be a Pan-Africanist. Forget about we people talking of William Ruto being a Pan-Africanist. Malema has been so passionate when it comes to defending Africa and discussing things or the matters Africa at the international platform. Is somebody who always believed that Africa needs to be independent. Africa needs to trade with itself, and Africa needs to change and stop bootlicking the Western countries and such kind of things. So, shall he be elected, he promised that he's going to open the borders. And in opening the borders, he promised and he told them that why is it that Africa are having some boundaries, but when you go to countries in Europe, they don't have boundaries. So, as I welcome you to this wonderful show, I've seen good days already there. It's good to see you this wonderful evening. I just want to remind you that if you've not subscribed to Afriq 24-hour TV, kindly do ensure that you go to YouTube, look for Afriq 24 hours, subscribe, and you can also go ahead and become a member of Afriq 24-hour TV. It's simple. Subscription is free, but when you join to become a member, there's some premium payments that you'll always be making. Karibu sana, Laban Misiani. Good to see you. Good to see you. And kindly ensure that you like the video and share with your friends so that they can also be part of this conversation. And if you so wish to join me in the studio so that you can also participate in this conversation, I've shared a link on the comment section there. So use the link and join studio. I've just told you that South Africa are going for their elections tomorrow. And because you're connecting with African stories, it's good that we also look into what is happening in South Africa. I've told you in these elections, just in terms of numbers, South Africa has got a population of 62 million. That is the country population. And out of the 62 million, 27.8 or about 28 million are registered as voters. And they're the ones who are going to participate in the elections tomorrow. They are having 9 provinces, and of course, in each and every province, they're going to elect somebody. And in these 9 provinces, they are also having 257 municipalities. And the polling stations there are 23,292. So all these results will have to be displayed. The voting age is 18, and their presidential term is 5 years, and you can only serve a maximum of 2 terms. That is 10 years. That is what is happening there. And the governing African National Congress, the one you call ANC, is projected to lose in parliamentary majority for the first time, because possibly it might be paving way for the country's first coalition government. Of course, if they lose majority, then maybe Malema's party and the other guy's party might decide to form what is called a coalition government. With the voter discontent, you'll find that the voters in South Africa, just like any other African country, are not contented with how the ANC is directing, or the Ramaphosa's party is leading the country. And this one might lead to opposition parties, which includes the Democratic Alliance. Remember, they also have a DA, and there's one called the Economic Freedom Fighters. That is the one that is led by Julius Malema. Almost all of you know who Julius Malema is, the noisy one. Yeah? And there's also a newcomer party that is called Umkhonto. Umkhonto. Is it Umkhonto or it is Umkhonto? Somebody who been South African can help me. sound it well. It's called Umkhonto. And Wisizwe, yeah, MK. These ones are the parties that have put pressure on ANC. And if you've been following them online, they've really done some online campaigns and countrywide rallies promising sweeping reforms in hopes of swaying about 28 million registered voters that I've told you are going to participate. And the good news is that our very own former president, the fourth, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is the one who is leading the African Union Elections Observation Board, mission, the AUEOM, that is African Union Elections Observation mission, and is the one who was appointed by the AU Commission to lead that mission. So we hope that the elections are going to be successful. Laban is asking, what will happen if Uhuru sit down with Gacheta? Will Ruto suffer politically? Of course, Laban, I'm just giving you update. It's already happening in South Africa. I'm getting there. So far, Gachagua have read some betrayal. So let me just give you some of the promises that Malema has given. Shall he be elected in South Africa? Then from that, we are going to start our discussion, of course, in Kenya. Politics. We'll get back to there. We're going to look at the smell of betrayal in the UDA party. We're also going to look at the rise of one Babu Owino, whose rise and fame after having some successful rallies. That is in 3 out of the 4 counties in the Luo Nyanza, which has turned out to be successful now. Puts him in problem. I don't know. There are some people in ODM who are not happy as his star is shining. And as it stands, it seems that all the signals are directed to him as maybe the next hire or the person who will replace Raila Odinga in ODM, because he tried to prove that he has got the charisma, he has got the energy that it takes to lead a party through holding successful rallies, reaching out to almost everybody without boundaries and such kind of characters. So let us get to South Africa first and see some of the promises that Malema is giving us. And of course, we are also going to discuss the Kenyan politics. We're going to discuss the Finance Bill 2024. Today, we had the public participation that took place. We had some corporate companies giving their views, and the public participation will continue. We've also had some senators like Karen Nyamu giving their view on this finance bill. Yesterday, we had Gadoni Wamuchomba, that is the MP, giving her views on it, and so on and so forth. So this is what Malema is promising.
This continent of Africa must be one. I hear you saying, he says, the borders must be open. The borders must be opened. Because borders are opened for white people. When there is a white person from Mozambique who can't even speak English, you welcome them. When there is a brother from Mozambique into Nelspruit, you call them names. Yet you don't call white people names. There is no Mozambique, comrades. This continent of Africa must be one. I hear you saying, he says, the borders must be open. The borders must be opened. Because borders are opened for white people. When there is a white person from Mozambique who can't even speak English, you welcome them. When there is a brother from Mozambique into Nelspruit, you call them names. Yet you don't call white people names. There is no Mozambique.
Yes, that is Julius Malema talking to South Africans. Of course, he's also giving some hope to the continent Africa, because one of the things that he's really rooting for is a united Africa, Africa that is independent from the Western exploitation and manipulation, and he doesn't believe in worshipping and giving much unnecessary respect to the Western countries. Thank you, Laban, for reminding me. The Umkhonto, I don't know how to pronounce it, how I wish we could send a voice note. Umkhonto Wesizwe is a post-independence party. So these are among the parties that are really piling pressure to ANC in South Africa, and any of them can carry the day. The elections are are going to start tomorrow. That is some few hours from now. So let us still get what
I will never get tired. No one can make me tired. I march forward to the victory of our people. The revolution in South Africa is guaranteed that under the EFF, this country will be the better. Stand up, South Africa. Make sure that South Africa, you are counted with me. Run, South Africa. Stand and make sure that our people understand that they need to be counted. You must be counted. You must be part of history. You must make sure that you are one of the people who are going to deliver economic freedom in our lifetime. Freedom in our lifetime. Amanda!
All right, Goodyear, you've asked a good question. That does South Africa get along with the Kenyan government through trade? Yes, I can tell you that is true. And remember that when the current president, that is William Ruto, got into office, the first country in Africa that Kenya had to sign deals to deepen bilateral relations with South Africa, and from that end, one of the agreements was that they removed the visa requirement for Kenyans traveling to South Africa and South Africans coming to Kenya. And currently, if you're having a Kenyan passport, you can go to South Africa. You are given a maximum of 3 months a year, that is 90 days. So you can get a free visa that will take you there as long as you're having your return ticket. You can go to South Africa on business. You can go to South Africa and on maybe holiday, as long as you don't overstay past 3 months. So these are some of the things that were done, or some of the agreements that were got into in November 2022, when the president was, I think, barely 1 or 2 months old in office. So Kenya and South Africa do a lot of trade, and South Africa and Kenya, they take steps, they promote some bilateral relations, and they pursue some strategical political objectives. And if you did remember, when Malema even was having his last or the final rally, you saw some of the Kenyan politicians went there. I saw the party leader of MDG, the MP of Kenya, was also present in that. You've also been seeing Malema coming to Kenya. So I was just wanting to remind you that on 9th November 2022, the South African president visited Kenya, and you did see him hold some talks with our president, William Ruto, to explore areas of mutual interest and cooperation. And in this particular meeting, they agreed on a reciprocal visa-free entry. Reciprocal in that if Kenyans go there, they don't pay visa, and if South Africans also come here, they don't pay visa. And this deal was rolled out in January last year, 2023, and Kenyans who visited South Africa can confirm that they are allowed to enter South Africa on a visa-free regime up to 90 days. That is per calendar year. So if you exhaust your 90 days, then you'll have to wait for next year, or you now go the normal way and pay for the visa. And this was an MU or memorandum of understanding that was signed by these two presidents. And remember also, they also signed some 8 bilateral agreements. For the first time that Kenyans started getting our president, William Ruto, talking of the bilateral agreement is when he met the South African president here in Nairobi. And they signed, I think, 8, which included an MOU on transport. They signed something on health, diplomatic consultation, and training, as well as tourism and migration. And in this, they also signed a bilateral air service agreement, the one that is famously known as BASA, which was concluded. And also the government printing works and return of national refused entry. There are some Kenyans who are refused entry there, so they signed an agreement to ensure that these people are returned back and they follow the right procedure when going to South Africa. So that is why South African election is so strategical to Kenyans, because we share a lot with South Africa, and Kenyans who've been to South Africa. Today I was having a friend of mine who was from South Africa, and he was telling me that despite the xenophobic and some negative things that we do here from South Africa, it's one of the best countries that as an Africa you can feel part of it. So let us hope and pray that as they go through their elections, the elections be successful, and they get a leader that is going to live in this spirit and continue with the good relationship that had already been established between the current president and Ramaphosa. I think, Goodyear, that one answers your question as we really hope that the elections there are going to be successful. And of course, Kenya has always been showing direction. We've been having some successful transition, and South Africa will also follow the suit. We are moving past an era whereby elections in Africa are characterized by coup and some war and the post-election chaos that brings the countries into standstill for maybe 3 to 4 years. And in African countries, it's normally a character that after election they take time to recover and get back to job. I think we are past this, and South Africa is going to lead by example to show us that we can really have elections and move on with the life. So I think that one has been gotten. Thank you so much. So if you're joining me for the first time, I kindly remind you that you need to subscribe to our channel. That is Afriq 24 Hour TV. Go to YouTube. You'll find Afriq. Subscribe and share with your friends so that they can also subscribe and partake in this kind of shows that we do have. And you can also go ahead and join and become a member of Afriq, because we not only do the political shows, but we also have some other programs that will suit your viewership. And as you're joining me, you can always use the comment section there and reach out with your comments, your views, and also your concerns. I know there are people who are following me from X, or the formerly Twitter. You can also use the comment section there, and I can assure you that any comment that you make on X or you make on Twitter will appear here. I'll be able to read it and respond to it. And you can also use the link that I've shared on your comment section, whether you're joining me from Facebook, you're joining me from YouTube, you're joining me from X or LinkedIn, or you're joining me from TikTok. You can use that link that I've shared to join the studio and be part of this conversation. Back to our Kenyan politics. A lot is happening. The rift in the ruling party keeps on widening. We've seen words being thrown left, right. We've seen leaders trying to defend their demigods or their small gods, the ones who are allied to the president, William Ruto, defending president, the ones who are allied to the deputy president, defending the deputy president. And the most interesting part of it is that the president is silent. And even the citizens have also joined this conversation. I just want to play you a video where members have also joined the conversation and are in defense of the deputy president. They are really telling Oscar Sudi, who yesterday he told us that on Sunday, Oscar Sudi bragged that he doesn't go to parliament. Yet those people call him member of parliament who was elected to go and represent them in parliament. He told them that he doesn't represent them in parliament. Instead, he flies to Tanzania and among other countries to go and look for money. Kwa sababu yeye ni mkarabati. So I'll play you some video of members blaming him of alcoholism, like he's having some bars that they claim are destroying their sons and daughters. And the Muguka debate is still on. Yesterday, we saw a meeting was held in State House between the Aembu and the Meru leaders. And the meeting was was chaired by the president. We had the cabinet secretaries from that region, that is Kindiki and Mithika Linturi. And they gave an okay or green light to Muguka and said that Muguka and Mira are gazetted crops, and anything or any legislation that is trying to ban it is null and void, meaning they said it is okay. But we've also had response from leaders from Coast who are claiming that no way, whether the president says what, whether somebody says what, they will not allow Muguka in their counties to destroy their people. And they claim the same way the deputy president is fighting alcoholism in central Kenya, they are also fighting Mugukaism, or they're also fighting Jaba, or Turkey stories of Jaba. So I'll just give you some of these responses. So we try to digest what is happening before we go to that politics of Gachagua and his deputy. This is what is happening.
Uko sokoni wazi, watoto wa primary wananunua kwa shilingi 20 tu inapatikana. Na tumeongea msituone hivi na wanaokula munguka, na wanasema ukishakula hiyo mitambo inazima. Wenyewe wamesema, sio sisi. Sio sisi. Tumeuliza jameni, madhara hawa wasemaji. Wameshangilia tangu Mung'aro apige marufuku tunao watu wamesema kwamba ndoa zimevunjika, na wengine wanasema kwa kuwa ni ngumu kumanage mwanamke atahitaji pesa, afadhali ule Mungu kaa kuzime ufuate shughuli zako. Sasa hii kama makamu wa rais, naibu wa rais amepiga vita pombe zinazoharibu watoto huko bara na kufanya madhara na hamkufanya maandamano. Sasa huku kwetu Kilifi tunasema hatutaki Mungu kaa. Hata mkisema mwenda kotini sisi hatutaki. Nini nendeni kwa mtatulazimisha Mungu kaa uje hapa? Hatutaki. Mnasema mna escort Mungu kaa wenu. Tayarisheni na sisi tuna escort wa kupinga hiyo kitu. Tutaharibu kila kitu kitwacho Mungu kaa huku. Kama mgoka huu ni kitu mnakipenda, uzianeni wenyewe. Si mnasema watoto wenu hawana shida? Uzianeni wenyewe huko. Sisi tumeukataa mgoka, hatutaki pwani. Maana umeharibu watoto wetu. Juzi nilikuwa nasikiliza zile cases za watu waliopelekwa kwa ile hospitali ya Potrizi ambao wameharibika akili. Inaambiwa zimeongezeka, na wale ambao wamefanywa rehabilitation wakarudi vizuri wanasingizia mgoka. Hata kama kuna madawa ya kulevya mengine hatuyaungi mkono, tunayapinga. Kama kuna cocaine hatuungi mkono, tunazipinga. Na hizo hazifanywa hadharani kama huu mgoka, maana wanajua si halali. Sisi nasi kama serikali yetu imesema hatutaki, kwa nini mje mtuuzie? Lazima pelekeni kwengine. Kama unapendwa nchi zingine pelekeni. Sisi hatutaki. Mkisema mnaleta escort na magari yenu, na sisi tunajihami kuzuia hayo magari.
Wale wanasema wao wanafanya biashara kuuza mogoka sababu wasomeshe watoto wao, waishi vizuri, wakodisha nyumba mzuri. Sisi watoto wetu wamalizika. Kwa nini iwe hivyo? Sisi tuko na janga tayari la madawa ya kulevya katika mkoa wa Pwani. Tuko na janga kubwa la madawa ya kulevya. Tumengangana miaka nenda miaka rudi liondoke, halijaondoka bado. Kisha hao wenzetu kutoka huko sehemu za bara wanatuletea tena ugonjwa mwingine. Wanatuletea tena sumu nyingine kumaliza vijana wetu. Kwa nini sisi tukae tumalize vijana wetu? Tunasikia machungu kama wazazi.
Yeah, those are some of the complaints that are coming from the people from Coast regarding this thing called Muguka. I think it started with Mombasa banning sale, transportation, and even usage of Mogoka in Mombasa. Then followed Kilifi and Taita Taveta. And as a matter of fact, most of the people who use this Mogoka are people from the coastal counties. And the real people who grow Mogoka, they don't use Mogoka. And somebody will tell you that those people who come from Meru and Embu, they use Mira. So there's a difference. I think Mira, the twigs, and the Mogoka, the leaves. So they claim that this Mogoka is destroying them. And somebody was saying that, okay, no, when you go to places like Mombasa, there are some other drugs like cocaine. They call it maonga and such kind of things. And instead of fighting Mogoka, then people should concentrate in fighting those other hard drugs. But the fact is that before somebody starts using that hard drug, they will always start with these soft drugs. So before somebody gets to a state of using cocaine, wataanza na hii kama Mogoka, waanze kukunywa mnazi, waanze kukunywa busa, waende kwa guarana, wakitoka guarana waende kwa taska, watoke kwa taska waende kwa whisky, ndiposa wafike pale juu. So hawa watu wa pwani wanalia kwamba hizi madawa ama haya matawi ya Mogoka inaharibu vijana, inafanya vijana wasiende shuleni. Manake ukienda kuinunua pale bei yake ni rahisi. Sio ile dawa, kwa mfano watoto kama hawa hawezi wakafikia bei ya pombe. Manake pombe watapata kwa ni bei ghali, mtu anahitaji shilingi 100, na ili aweze kununua pombe. Lakini ikifika kwa kununua muguka, umesikia yule anasema kwa kuna wale wanainunua hadi shilingi 20, shilingi 50 ashawekewa na watafuna. Na kwa sababu muguka sio illegal, hakuna jinsi serikali wataanza kutafuta mali wanauza muguka, wajue ni kina nani wanauziwa, like haijakuwa regulated. Sasa wanalia sana. Manake baada ya kupiga marufuku, tuliona mkutano uliwekwa pale Ikuluni, na kwenye mkutano kulikuwa na viongozi kutoka maeneo ya wale watu ambao wanalima muguka. Manake hao wanasema kwa ni muguka ndio wanatumia, ni kama ndio cash crops. Wanapouza muguka wanaweza kupata pesa wa kulipa karo shuleni, pesa ya chakula na matumizi mengine. Lakini wale wanaotumia muguka wanasema kwa nyinyi mwafurahia kwa sababu mnapata pesa ya kulipia mahitaji zenu, lakini sisi ambao mnatuletea muguka huku, muguka inaathiri maisha ya watoto wetu, inafanya hatuna watoto baada ya kukula muguka hawezi wakazaa. Ni kwa vijana ambao wanategemewa waweze kuzaa na kuendeleza jamii. So that is what is happening, and the question that Kenyans should be asking, that why would we sell muguka to save the interest of 2 counties against the interest of more than 3 counties? That is what we need to see, because a law that does that, that law is discriminatory. Even when you look at the democratic space, when we are having minority and majority, the interest should be served equally, but majority will always have their way while the minority have their say. I don't know how you take this issue, but what we need to know is that no drug is good, no drug is healthy. And it is a matter of fact, despite the fact that we've been told that muguka doesn't have some effects, a matter of fact that people who use these drugs, this drug, first of all, enables them to have an urge of using other drugs, because after they've started chewing, it will take them to smoking, it will take them to taking alcohol and such kind of things. So no drug is good drug, and if we have to fight drugs, then we have to generally fight drugs and ensure that we're having safer communities where we're having responsible children who will grow and become responsible adults. I don't know what is your take on the stand of the coastal leaders. They've said that they are not going to give it a chance. They are not going to allow it, because it is them who are on the receiving end, and they are not having any problem with people growing muguka or growing mira, but they say you grow it and keep it for yourself. If you grow it, eat it with your family, eat it with your community, eat it in your region. If you want to buy or if you want to exchange goods with other counties, then you have some sweet potatoes, you have some bananas, you have some tomatoes, you have maize and such kind of things, avocados, then bring us those goods, we'll buy it. But muguka wamesema hawataki story za jaba. Yagon, business first. Karibu sana. I don't know which business you are talking of. Are you also talking of this business ya muguka? Sasa hiyo biashara ipewe kipaumbele alafu afya ikuja nyuma. I don't know. That is your take. Somebody asked me a question that I need us to look into. The issue between the deputy president and the president. It seems it's a debate that is not ending today. It's a debate that is being expanded, and some people also try to claim that, when Ruto went to look for votes in central Kenya, he did not look for votes with Gachagua. He did not depend on Gachagua to get the votes, but when he went there on his own. He was given votes as William Ruto, as the kingpin of Mount Kenya. So therefore, somebody cannot claim that, I'm the kingpin, you must come through me. In these politicians, this kind of kingpin and being a political tribal leader is normally a way whereby you can bargain on behalf of their community. Sasa, like if Gachagua is the kingpin of Central, wakienda pale mnadani, pale sokoni, then anauza watu wa Mount Kenya as wholesale. But they're claiming Ruto did not buy Mount Kenya as wholesale through Gachagua, but he went there akawanunua ile bei ya retail, anasema Kamau chukua yako, Njoroge chukua yako, Wairimu like that, Murume hivyo. But when you go to some other places, I'm not saying that there are people who have bought wholesale, but people who are having their kingpins, people they are loyal to. When you want to make an agreement with them, when you want to get their vote, you go to their leaders. Unaenda kwa Kalonzo, naambia Kalonzo, Wakamba wako wangapi? 2 million. Okay, sawa. Wenda kupatia hivi, nipatie hizo votes. But that is what has been happening in Kenya, and I think for the first time we are getting out of that kind of patronage politics whereby you vote based on where your tribal leader directs you. I want you to listen to this voice note. Somebody was trying to explain why Ruto owes Gachagua nothing political.
Rigathi Gachagua was lifted to the second highest position in the land, but he had no foundation. The kingpin for Mount Kenya in 2022 was William Samoei Ruto. Mount Kenya voted for Ruto.
Overwhelmingly.
Now, Rigathi Gachagua, with all his truth, finds himself as a pushover. He can be skipped and he will not be missed. He can fail to pick the president at the airport. No one will notice he's missing. His ability to occupy the office of the deputy president with dignity has also failed him. He has been unable to rise to the occasion. When he was given an opportunity to speak to this country and to speak peaceably to us and make peace, he told some of us that we are not shareholders.
Yep.
Now, as he said others are not shareholders, he then realized that there's a constituency that is with William Ruto in the mountain, and there's a constituency that is with Uhuru Kenyatta, and there's a constituency of two people, Sabina Chege and Kanini Kega, who are potentially with him. So he has no base. What he is looking for is he's looking for an opportunity to tell William Ruto in 2026 and 2027 to say, if you don't allow me to be DP again, I will go with these people. The only problem is now when he says these people, he only means his family. That's the issue.
Yeah.
So now when you bring it to the Mount Kenya politics itself, Mount Kenya is doing what it does best. It's closing rank.
All right, I think you've heard that. Maybe before I say something on it, Gudi is saying that they don't only happen in Mombasa, it happens in some counties too. Drugs are drugs. Once strong drugs infest a country, it comes hand in hand with crime. Most criminals get controlled by drugs. That I do agree, and that is why when you see those leaders from coastal speaking, they speak passionately, having felt the effects of these drugs. They've seen what these drugs have done to their younger generation. And they feel that if these drugs are allowed to maybe deal with them, then in future, they're not going to have a community. We're going to have a community that is going to be extinct simply because they got lost into drugs. We're going to have a community that will be out of control. We're going to have a community that will be full of idlers and drug peddlers and all those kinds of crimes that are associated with drugs. So they want to try and sanitize so that they can be able to regain a community that is believed to be getting lost. Issue of drug abuse in coastal is a serious issue that maybe should just be declared a national disaster. And somebody will tell you, I've been to Nyali, there's some places in Nyali, you go to those sides of Ziwa Langombe, you go to Freya, you go to, how do you call it, Kwabulo. There are places you'll meet individuals who in Swahili we say hawajielewi. You'll wonder, are they dead or alive? They're there. They've used these drugs to an extent that they cannot do without the drugs. And even if you want to take them to rehabilitation, it means you are going to kill them even before they reach that rehabilitation. Because when you withdraw these drugs from their system, then that is the end of them. So they cannot do without it. So I also believe that this kind of initiative of starting to fight drugs from the easily accessible drugs as you go to the ones that are not easily accessible, it's good. You start step by step. The ones that makes them, that's the term I was looking. I didn't want to say it, but they turn into zombies. I've met zombies personally. You go and you look at them and you're like, are these really human beings? Or they've been into those drugs. It happens. And if you can have an interview with the one, the Nyali MP Jichopevu, he'll tell you that he's leading a constituency that has really been affected by drugs, a constituency that if you want now to call youths, you can't find the majority of the youths are in drugs. When you go to schools, some of the schools, they're beautifully built, but they don't have students there. Nobody's going to school. So for that, I think for once, we need to put our economical maybe gains and ensure that we work on our health and our social well-being. I think that will sound better. So back to Gachagua. I don't know if you agree with the gentleman who said that William Ruto is the kingpin in Mount Kenya, and he says that Gachagua was just lifted to that position of the deputy president. He didn't work for it. He didn't maybe do something worthy for him to be there, but he's a beneficiary, and he needs to be loyal. When they say left, he should go left. When they say right, he should go right. Though there are people also believe that what the deputy is doing is right, because Ruto maybe thought that because the deputy did not have maybe some say, or he did not have some weight during the campaigns and such kind of things. So maybe the president thought that this is the right person that is just going to manipulate and direct and tell what to do. But this one is happened. It turns out that the deputy president is not going to allow that. He's saying that, okay, yes, I do agree. You uplifted me. I didn't disturb this position, or you gave it to me, but that one did not give you permission to manipulate me. So it also explains why after election, the deputy president spent a lot of time trying to consolidate Mount Kenya. At some point, people thought that he was the deputy president of Mount Kenya because he knew that he did not have some base. So he tried so much to create a base. But now, as it happens, things are almost getting out of hand. And what Chinua Achebe would ask is, will the center hold? That's the question that I and you are asking. It's a matter of time. We are going to see if things are going to fall apart or if the center will be able to hold. Ramesu Yegon, alcohol kills. It's dangerous when going through withdrawal. Drugs can't really kill you unless you overdose. But in rehab, you can't die. But there's some people who've used these drugs. Their systems are used to this drug, of which when they've not taken it, you look at them and you're like, okay, let them get a dose so that they can have some life. I don't know if you've met these people who use cocaine. In Mombasa, they call it maunga. Go to Mombasa, ask somebody to take you to, I think it's past Bombolulu, just around Kisimani. You go to Ziwa la Ng'ombe, go to those sides of Kongowea, Kisumu Ndogo, or come to this side of Nyali where you are having, from Bombolulu, there's a Kwabulo there. You go to Freya. I'm telling you, you're going to meet zombies. Goody is saying that the mountain hanging on Uhuru, the same way Nyanza hanging on Raila, exercising better the devil you know. I think this is what is happening. It seems the mountain have decided to look for Uhuru Kenyatta. This is, do I say, is that stone that they left? Because towards the 2022 elections, nobody wanted to hear something from Uhuru. But right now, when you see them, wherever they talk, the deputy president wants Uhuru back, everybody wants Uhuru back. I don't know what happened. But you heard how fiercely the deputy president talked. And the kind of response that he got, maybe I'll just see if I can be able to get that video. I can maybe give you a reminder. I don't know if I have it when people are referring. But I have one for Oscar Sudi, how he was responding to the deputy president. I'll just play that. Then how people today also decided to respond to Sudi.
So wacha kujisumbua na mimi bwana ati sijui nini. Wewe unakaa hapo unaenda kunywa chai bunge unakaa bunge na fitina hapo. Si mmesikia mara mingi wanasema Sudi haendangi bunge ama mjaisikia. Ndio ije kwanga hapo ulisa parto. Mimi siendagi bunge. Mimi naenda kutafuta mimi ni mkarabati najua ile vitu nafanya. So kama wewe unaenda kunywa chai bunge na fitina alafu unasema ati Sudi anatoa pesa mingi. Wewe usikiangi kila siku nimepanda ndege nimeenda Tanzania, nimeenda wapi, nimeenda kwa nafikiri unaenda kutafuta mawe. Muache ujinga bwana, muache upuzi. Muache upuzi. Na bado nitafanya na nitaendelea. Na ya mwisho, sisi wengine ni wanafunzi wa William Ruto, tukiwa wengi, na hata mimi nataka niombe viongozi wengine, nimeona wanakemea viongozi wadogo, ile huyu rafiki yangu Songa amesema, tafadhali, kila mtu wako na ruhusa kutembea Kenya mzima. Hakuna mtu anaambiwa usiende hapa. Kila mtu atembee. Leo niko na pesa ya watu wengi nimekuja naye hapa. Niko na pesa ya Ishungwa. Niko na pesa ya nani? Niko na pesa ya nani? Hawangekuwa na nafasi wangekuja hapa. Halafu mtu mwingine anasema hapa ati huyu asiende hivi, huyu asonge hivi. Jameni, hii serikali ya Kenya kwanza, kila mtu alichangia. Kila mtu alichangia. Na mimi nataka niambie viongozi, sisi tuheshimiane. Rais akiwa pale, naibu wake akiwa pale, tuheshimiane. Na pia tunaomba rais na naibu wake pia mtuheshimu.
Pesa taslimu. Waga makofi tena, wapi makofi? Haya sasa mtueleze makofi. Wangapi wanapenda Sudi? Hapo muone kwa mikono juu. Amkae tayari tusindikize yeye. Haya. Mwenyewe mwenye inji. Kenya 1. Moja. 200. 400. 600. 800. 900. Milioni moja. Milioni moja na 100. Na 200. Na 300. Na 400. Na 500. Na 600. Na 800. Na 900. Milioni mbili. Haya. Bado muko? Hai. Hello. Okay, Meja Koske ametoa shilingi 5,000. Haya, umite? Bado muko? Sasa imefika kilele. Ama namna gani? Haya, ya mkarabati ndani yako. Agera moja nyune berege. Sanet ka utane tukivile mokto. Haya. Haya, 100. 100. Haya. 200. 3. 4. 5. 6. 8. 9. Haya. Ni 1,000. Tupigane makofi yetu. Na wale wana escort yeye. Haya, hiyo anasema mtu anaitwa ISO ana escort. Sio mtu mwingine tufuatilie.
Yeah, that is what the deputy president was trying to address on that day when the deputy president said that, okay, these MPs wanatembea na pesa and such kind of things, and that is what angered Sudi. And you heard Sudi talking like that, akamwambia, you elected me to go to parliament, but mimi siendangi bunge, mimi naendanga, mimi ni mkarabati, najua jinsi natafuta pesa. And it's good, Ramesh, you saying that so sad, and people are cheering. And I don't know if I did tell you that was happening in a church. Oscar Sudi is giving 2 million. And when you walk to the neighboring community, maybe just next to that church, there are no schools, there are no facilities, there are no laboratories in schools. But that amount is left in church. When you go to that church next Sunday or next Saturday, the situation is still there. The poor who go there will still have to be paying their tithes and such kind of things. So it brings us to a conversation that I know Kenyans don't want to discuss: how the church contributes to corruption among the government officials or politicians. Because when the politicians steal this money, or they get this money in the corrupt way, this money gets sanitized in our churches. Like Sudi have given 2 million in the church. Do you think who is going to fail to elect Sudi when the elections are held today? He'll win. Yeah. Oscar Sudi was elected. He's serving his second or third term, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So when he was elected, he didn't have anything, but he's nowadays stinking rich. I remember that is being given in one occasion, and that day he had like 3 Arambes. So you can imagine these guys are having a budget of like 10 million. An individual is spending a budget that when you give to schools only 1 million each school. Like if you give one that budget that they're having, if you give it to 10 schools, 1 million per month, even not per month, even per year, is enough to give them like 8 classrooms each year. So that is enough to give 8 classrooms to 10 schools in a year. That is what you give in those Arambes per month. So if you do it like that, it means in a year you can be able to build 5 new schools and equip them well, or you can be able to build 3 hospitals, equip them well to help the entire community. Yes, you can't question a man of God about where the money goes. And of course, people will vote for him out of it. That is what is happening. We need to come and start having this kind of discussion. The church is sanitizing these corrupt politicians, and they are the ones who are breeding and encouraging corruption in government positions. The other day you saw, I think Oscar Sudi gifted a certain bishop with a Range Rover. So these are some of the things that are happening. So when you want to get elected, you don't need to go to parliament. If told you, the MP is telling you, haindangi parliament, you only need to get some money and come and do such kind of things, then you have your way. And that one tells you the cadre of the people that get elected in this position. And they are also the ones who are dealing in some businesses. Somebody was talking of fighting drugs, and when you're still talking of drugs, there are some complaints from Sudi's backyard on how is also among the people. When you hear that these people are saying that we want to close the bars, they're only closing the bars for the poor. These bars, small bars in the estates that are being run by poor, but theirs keep on running. Just listen to
hata
this.
Sisi hapa mashinani tulijaribu kuomba kura ya rais kila mahali tuendapo, sio yeye mwenyewe. Hatukuwa na chopa ya kutumia, lakini tulitumia miguu zetu kuombea rais kura. So awaje kutumia vitisho, na hiyo vitisho yake atupeleke mbali. Aendelee na klabu zake za pombe kuumiza wa Kenya. Naibu wa rais na rais mwenyewe wanakataa pombe, na yeye anaendelea kutengeneza clubs. Hapa Timba Nova Primary School iko next 100 meters. Kwani huyu mtu anataka kuwa watu wangapi kwa pombe? Oscar Sudi. Hiyo pesa yenye unatumia kila mahali, hata nashangaa mheshimiwa Oscar Sudi anaweza toaje zaidi ya milioni 3 kushinda rais? Hii pesa yenye anatumia anatoa wapi? Hata tuambia labda hii pesa ni ya madawa kulevya. Hii mtu lazima atuambie. Hatuwezi tishwa. Kuna wakati.
So that is the country that we are having. Those are the leaders that we are having. Those are the people that we elect. Like right now, you people know we are having the 2024 Finance Bill Act. Today there was a public participation. I believe it will continue throughout this week. We did bring it here live. I know from tomorrow it will be gaining some momentum, and it will only make sense when we'll start seeing the common mwananchi going through this kind of public participation and giving their views. Though the views that were being given today were by the corporate organizations. And corporate organizations, as we believe, most of them are also serving their interests, and some of them also easily gets compromised. So as we are waiting to see the common mwananchi also going for this kind of public participation and giving their views, some of the things that they feel that are not getting well with them in this kind of bill, then from that we'll be able to judge and see whether things are happening the right way or not before the bill maybe goes to parliament. We did hear some of the comments from Githunguri MP, that is Wamuchomba, and of course, if she will get an opportunity to address such kind of things in parliament where she was elected to go and represent her people, then that will be good. Somebody is asking who will represent Kapserite people when their MP admits that. Yeah, that is the question that we need to ask. An MP have admitted, he told you. So that tells you how they take the National Assembly. It tells you the kind of priorities that they have. These are people who are elected to go and represent us in the National Assembly. That is where legislation takes place. That is where bills are drafted and discussed. That is where tax is added and reduced. That is where the problems that are affecting your constituents are discussed. But you as an MP publicly says that, you see, listen, and he says it passionately that mimi siendangi bunge, si mimi ni mkarabati, najua kile kitu nafanya. And that one enough, if people of Kapsaret, it's called Kapsaret or Kapsaret, are serious, that one is enough for them to recall the MP, because the MP has proved that he cannot be able to serve some of the duties that is given. But we don't blame him. We blame the voters who vote such kind of people. I just want to make you laugh. I know it isn't funny, but I want to make you laugh a bit with some kind of people that you people send in parliament. This is a nominated senator. I don't know which group she's representing, but she was nominated to represent the Nairobi delegation. And when asked about the finance bill, she's a senator. This is the kind of response that she gave.
What is your general opinion about the finance bill that is yet to be passed?
My general opinion of the finance bill, first of all, finance bill inafanywa National Assembly, not in the Senate. But what I know about the Kenya Kwanza administration, what we promised the people on the ground is that economy itakuwa bottom up. Unaweza kuwa wewe unalia, oh, Ruto anatutax sana, na sasa hiyo ametoa tax ya wale watu wako chini, ameongeza for example ya wale watu wana import vitanda kutoka nje. Na wewe unazusha nini? Na nikitoa haikuhusu. You know, find out what does this finance bill say. Kuna tax imeongezwa, inakuhusu. Sasa wewe unatetea masource, unajua unataxiwa, na wewe tax zako zile ziko unataxiwa zimepelekwa chini. Kwa sababu hiyo bottom up model. So find out. Watana through the social media. You know, we have opposition politics.
Yeah. That is a nominated senator. That is somebody that you expect to go and discuss that matters that are affecting you. Matters affecting the counties at the Senate. Displaying her ignorance publicly. Forgetting to tell you that any tax, there's no tax for the rich and tax for the poor. If they are taxing the matatu owners whom you claim are rich because they can be able to afford matatu, this tax is going to be trickled down to you who doesn't own a matatu and use their matatu. How will they do it? If you increase tax to the matatu owners, then they are going to increase fare. Then here, you are nominated senator. I don't know if they did not get anybody worthy that kind of nomination, comes to tell you that hufai kuteta kwa sababu hiyo tax haikuhusu. Same WhatsApp group with Sudi. Imagine Sudi is in what is called the budget committee. Which kind of proposal do you think is going to bring them? The role of MP is to legislate, oversight, and the ones also take part in the budget making process. That is true. And the budget is what affects the Mwananchi. He already told you it doesn't go to parliament. How on earth is he going to represent you? Did you elect him to go and represent you in restaurants or in those countries that he is claiming? No. It's high time that we need to tell our people the reason why we go for elections and some of the roles that are played by the people that we elect, so that whenever you scrutinize these people or they come and ask for your vote, you should be at a position to not only interview them, but you should be at a position to weigh whether they can be able to perform those duties or not, because there's no need of having people who, instead of getting there to do the right thing that you voted them to go and do, they are going to do the opposite. You voted them to go and represent you in parliament, then they'll come back and tell you that you look, I don't go to that parliament. And you're dumb seated there waiting to re-elect them in the next general elections. So that one is left for you as a voter to see what are you going to do about it. But it's good that we always have elections done after every 5 years. So after 5 years, you'll have an opportunity to go on the ballot again. And when you'll be going to the ballot, you'll have an opportunity to either re-elect that leader or elect another leader whom you feel and think will be able to take care of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Afriq 24. This is our talk show. And in this show, we just try to connect you with African stories. We try to connect you with what is happening in our politics as we try to weigh out some of the possible solutions to the problems that we're having. You know, politics determine everything that happens in this country. Like right now, when we get time here and start discussing the Finance Act 2024, we'll be able to know some of the loopholes that need to be filled. And through this, we can get an opportunity also to reach our elected leaders that when they get to parliament, we need to tell them some of the things that they'll ensure they do to ensure that we get the best for this country. So I want to encourage you that always ensure that you tune in every day, every night, as we're having this kind of talk shows, and also participate to let us know your view on the matters that matter in Kenyan politics. So if you've not subscribed to our channel, kindly do so. Go to Afriq 24-hour, subscribe, join, and become a member. You can also follow us on Facebook at Afriq 24-hour TV. You can also follow our Twitter or our X handle. And of course, you can also search us in TikTok. And very soon, we will be having our shows lively projected on TikTok. Always with you, as we call it a day or we call it a night. We pray and hope that South Africa, as they're going for their elections tomorrow, we wish them well. We wish them to have a peaceful elections, and may the best candidate win, and may they be guided to elect those people who are going to awaken the giant that we have in South Africa. And I know Kenyans are also preparing for our Madaraka Day, which will happen on Saturday. And this year's Madaraka Day is going to be conducted in Bungoma. So for the people of Bungoma, you get prepared. You're going to have so many visitors. So if you're having a restaurant there, you're having a business, ensure that you stock so that people don't come there and they go back hungry because they did not get a place to eat. So ensure you have a lot of your traditional meals and such kind of things, so that those people who are going to visit Bungoma for the first time will have a better experience of Ingo. And as we are going to celebrate our Madaraka Day, we should also try to remember some of the strides that Kenya has made since independence and since we became a republic, and try to reflect. That is what we are going to do in our next shows. We'll try to reflect some of the milestones that we've made since independence, things that we've not been able to achieve, and how best we think these things can be achieved. So I just want to wish you a happy Madaraka Day in advance. To the ones who are in East Africa, I know it is your sleeping time. Good night, and of course, good day. From this end, I want to say thank you. Thank you for joining this conversation. It was good. Geoffrey Ruto, I can see also they are talking about the financial year 2024-2025, a total allocation of 400.1 billion has been agreed upon for the 47 counties. This is a very good thing. Of course, that is a very good thing, Geoffrey, and we do appreciate. But now the big question that I and you need to ask, will these 400 plus billion have an effect to the common mwananchi, or these billions are going to end up in people's personal pocket? They're going to fund people's personal projects. There was a governor I was reading yesterday. I can't remember the county, but it is in the northeastern. I don't know if it is Madaraka. This is a governor who, when he was elected in the first term, he started building some apartments. Unluckily, he didn't make it in the second term, aliangushwa. So the project stopped. Then again, he managed to be elected now after resting for 5 years. Now the project is on. So that tells you how these people pilferage and misuse the funds that are sent to them. So instead of using these funds for the benefit of common mwananchi, of the common citizen, they use them for their own personal investments. So is the government, the national government, going to pump all these money to the counties so that they can be able to devolve corruption and mismanagement of public funds? Yes, it is a good thing, and it is a milestone, and it is something that is positive, that is really going to strengthen devolution. But the question is, are the leaders that we have at the county levels responsible enough that when they get this money that they want, they're going to use it? Sometimes we hear governors say they want more money, but they don't want to respond to queries on the little money that they've been given. I give you 50 shillings. You cannot be able maybe to substantiate and maybe say or prove how you've used this money. You cannot be able to track it. Then what do you think will happen if I give you 1,000? So that's a question that we need to be asking our governors as they are calling for the national government to increase their allocation. What are they doing at the county level to ensure that this money allocated to them is put into proper use, is put into a use that is going to serve the urgent needs? It's given to some priority projects that are most needed. Then number two, as the counties, what are they doing to create revenue for themselves? There are counties that can survive on their own. Counties like Kiambu doesn't need a national government allocation. Counties like Kisumu doesn't need national government allocation. But why do they keep on asking for this? Because they fail to come up with measures that can ensure that they create their own money. As I get you, most of this money will end up in corruption. The county government's history is known. Yeah, the people who, maybe the people who crafted this issue of devolution had some good ideas. It's quite unfortunate that some of them died never to see the fruits or never to steer these counties. And I'm sure where people like Dr. Mbai are, or people like Mboya are, if they can rise and see, if Mboya today can come back to life and see what is happening in Homa Bay, he will really hate fighting for this kind of Majimbo system. When Dr. Mbai can wake up and see what is happening in Kisumu, he won't want to be associated with it. If Kibaki can go and check what is happening in Nyeri, he won't imagine he championed for this constitution in 2010. So we're still far away from benefiting from the counties. And it's good. Kenyans have been learning. This is the third term, that is 15 years of devolution. I don't expect Kenyans to make the same mistake moving forward. Now you can make a mistake once, that was 2013, 2017. You can be forgiven for making it for the second time, 2017, 2022. But we won't forgive you for doing it for the third time or for the fourth time. I still don't like Kenyan forces being sent to fight in Yemen. Was that part? Yeah. It's news that Kenyan forces are being sent to Yemen. And there's something that somebody said, Americans don't give you the money for free. When you see America giving some money, there's normally some hidden agenda. And right now, what is happening is that the US and EU has picked Kenya to join war against Houthi rebels in Yemen. Kenya will assist in handling suspects arrested by the warships. And somebody will ask, is it a coincidence that after the president's visit, we saw soldiers going to Haiti. Haiti soldiers are coming for training in Kenya. We don't know what that one will imply. And maybe it's taken Kenya too long to understand maybe the dangers of coming towards maybe this kind of agreements. And because maybe you don't have some proper leaders who can think beyond the little money and the little goodies in the form of used jets that they're being given, then they get so overwhelmed with what is called international platform. You see people saying that Kenya is now in the international platform. We are in the global map. We can't risk our nation just to be in the global map. How many wars? We are not able to contain the illiterate bandits in Baringo and some coward terrorists in the northern parts of Kenya, northeastern parts of Kenya. How will we be able to bring peace in Haiti? How will we be able to deal with the Yemen? Remember, when you talk of Haiti, Haiti is a country that is so destroyed beyond repair. A country that has been in war for almost 30 years. I think it started with the time of Bill Clinton. We had George Bush having his terms. We had Obama having his 2 terms. We had Trump and now Biden. Then now we think we can be able to correct a mess that America is part of for the last 24 years. That is an insult. That is chewing more than we can swallow. Initially, there were different proposals between the 2 houses. The Senate advocated for allocation of 415, while the National Assembly suggested at least 391 billion. Why the difference? I think that's what happened we don't have any consistency in Kenyan politics. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, my time, you can see, is running. All right, so I just want to say thank you. I know a lot is happening and a lot is happening. Let us meet tomorrow. As tomorrow will be live, the entire day we'll be trying to bring you what is happening in South Africa as we join our former president who is leading the AU observation mission there, elections observers, and we'll ensure that we give you updated updates on everything that will be happening during these elections in South Africa. So from this end, I just want to say thank you, and see you tomorrow.
But what political leader can stand up and say my party is a party of principles? For the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam. The party of Jarvis is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protests? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police official kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
Join us every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance, presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru. Bed of Roses promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Afriq 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri. Umefika tangu Kenya iwe huru. Mwaka wa 60 umefika tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Twaenda mbio kokote, Kenya yaenda mbele kokote, kwa elimu twaenda mbele hatutaiacha kamwe, Kenya hatutaiacha kamwe, Kenya hatutaiacha mwenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, Kenya kipenzi chetu nchi yenye upendo hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima. Tumeapa sote wananchi wa Kenya kutumikia Kenya daima na milele, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, sitaiacha Kenya nchi yangu, na nikienda ng'ambo nitarudi, sitadanganya kamwe na wageni, wala sitapotoshwa na wabaya, sitasaliti Kenya nchi yangu, na majirani wangu nitalinda, wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, Kenya kipenzi chetu hatutaiacha milele daima, tushangilie Kenya taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda.
And because of that, Chairman, we should allocate sufficient amount of money for all schools in this country for the school feeding program. I have a problem, however, Chairman, with how the school feeding program is being run in Nairobi, because this is a function of the national government, and the county government So, Chairman, you've not commented about this, Chairman Meli, that Nairobi County per day in a year, with the total number of schools which we have around 210 public primary schools, the total amount collected in a year is around 270 million Kenya shillings. So therefore, if we are allocating money in the budget committee for the school feeding program, in addition to that, the county government is also allocating money. In addition to that, there are grants which are being given by the government of France. And then in addition to that, we collect money from the parents, Chairman. So is it not selfish? And no, CDF does not allocate money for that, but at least from the national government. So, Chairman.
The police have uncovered a drug trafficking operation.
This is what top dogs do.
And we need to follow some of these issues because our parents' money, the hard-earned cash of our parents are being defrauded by the county government of Nairobi. So you need to look into that. However, we support the school feeding program. Number two, Chairman, as you rightly stated on the JSS, Chairman, these people are really struggling. And you know what it is, Chairman, to stay in a lecture hall for 4 years, Chairman. These people, having graduated from different institutions of higher learning, Chairman, the only amount of money that a JSS teacher is being paid is 17,000 Kenya shillings. This is a person who is qualified. Hata mtu anaenda mjengo, Chairman, earns 600 shillings per day. For 30 days, that is 18,000 Kenya shillings. Na huyo ni mtu wa mkono, anafanya kazi ya kuleta mawe. What about a person who is fully trained, just to earn that amount of money? Therefore, I'm in support of the junior secondary school teachers to be paid not less than 46,000 Kenya shillings in hardship areas and 38,000 Kenya shillings in other areas. In addition to that, Chairman, there's a problem because there's discrimination where 46,000 teachers should be employed, the JSS teachers, while we are only going for 26,000. On what criteria will we use to know the 26,000? This amounts to discrimination, which is not in the spirit of the Kenyan Constitution. Now, we have, Chairman, the issue of in promotion of human capital, matter skill, and literally nothing can happen in this country if there is no skills, Chairman, in every field, in every area. And when we look at the capitation, which is always and constantly being delayed in our universities, Chairman, it is very unfair for our children to suffer because the money for capitation has not been released. Yet most of the time we budget for this money. So therefore, Chairman, you also need to talk to the executive that once we budget for these monies, then they need to be promptly released. You know the importance of education, Chairman Dindi Nyoro. You know very well, it is education that has made you be where you are. And you love education. And even now you are doing 2 masters at a go. Chairman, you know what this means. Therefore, money should be released to these comrades as soon as possible. On the TVETs, Chairman, every year we budget for these TVETs in this same committee. But Chairman, you've chosen to not give attention to Nairobi as a county. We have a problem in Nairobi. We don't have enough TVETs. And among the 16 that you've already mentioned here, each is going to get 57,500,000 Kenya shillings. You need to consider Nairobi so that at least Nairobians can have an institution where they can further their education for those who are not successful in joining the universities and other colleges. Lastly, Chairman, the CBC, you've really presented a good proposal here, Chairman, but you've said nothing about the CBC. CBC, there's a problem. I want you to just, from this meeting, move to any public primary school within Nairobi. Go and see the chaos that is happening within those institutions. You find, Chairman, that one teacher who is trained to only offer 2 subjects, to teach 2 subjects. This teacher is being given 8 subjects to teach. Therefore, we are wasting those children as early as now. What does this tell us? That we need sufficient human capital. We need teachers to be employed. And these teachers, their salaries should be increased as just the way you propose. I think the CBC, at least something can be done about it. And then you've not also talked about the infrastructure for the CBCs. They are being taught laboratory, they are being taught biology, subjects like biology, chemistry, right at primary school level, but there are no even laboratories. So we need to move with speed because education is the first most important thing that must be taken into consideration. Lastly, Chairman, the university education. This is where there is the biggest problem. The biggest of all. This funding model, Chairman, I still don't understand it well. Because this new funding model, a social science is costing around 300,000 Kenya shillings. A course. For 4 years, that is around 1.2 million Kenya shillings. Kenya shillings. By 6 years, is around 3.6 million Kenya shillings. Then let's go back to that Mama Mboga or a boda rider who needs to raise this money, whose only hope is that child that they're educating at the university level, that one day that child will remove them from the mud where they are staying, from different slums where they are staying. Is it possible for this boda rider to accumulate 1.2 million Kenya shillings? Meanwhile, this person has never even touched 50,000 Kenya shillings at once. So this funding model, we need to do something about it, Chairman. And being in opposition, we will still proceed to push the government to ensure that they deliver these things that we want as per the doctrine of separation of powers, checks and balances, Chairman, which was opined by a gentleman called Charles Louis de Saint-Condat Baron de Montesquieu in France in the 17th century. Thank you, Chairman.
But Chair, Honorable...
No, the press conference is over. Let's go to...
Chair.
Let's go
But
to...
what political leader can stand up and say my party is the party of principle? But the party of Kennedy is also the party of Islam.
Position for the record.
The party of Javits is also the party of Goldwater. Where is our party? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march on Washington? Where is the political party that will make it unnecessary to march in the streets of Birmingham? Where is the political party that will protect the citizen of Albany, Georgia? Do you know that in Albany, Georgia, 9 of our leaders have been indicted, not by the Dixiecrats, but by the federal government for peaceful protests? But what did the federal government do when Albany Deputy Sheriff beat Attorney C.B. King and left him half dead? What did the federal government do when local police officials kicked and assaulted the pregnant wife of Slater King and she lost her baby? Those who have said be patient and wait, we must say that we cannot be patient. We do not want our freedom gradually, but we want to be free now.
Unasherekea kuwa president, Wakenya wanakufa na mfuriko, wanakufa na njaa, wanakufa, madaktari wanagoma. Wewe umeenda sherehe na mke wako na watoto wako, unasahau hiyo pesa sio yako, ni pesa ya Wakenya unachezea. Unaenda pale unajigamba ati umeenda kunegotiate ili upeleke vijana wetu wanajeshi kwenda kupigana nje. Hakuna mtoto hapa anaitwa Ruto, kunayo? Ni Otieno, ni Ali, ni Akinyi, ni Musyoka, na tunajua hesabu yako na tunakusubiri. Wewe peleka watoto wetu, sisi tutabaki hapa tukingoja maiti, kwa sababu tunajua ile vita ya pale hayatuhusu na hatuyawezi. Lakini kwa sababu umechukua uamuzi huo, jitayarisha kupokea haya maiti. Watakapo wawa pale, I want to talk to the leadership of this country. When we go back after recess, there will be a new finance bill. And I want to tell Ruto, Kenyans are tired. Haiwezi kuwa kila siku unatuongezea bei ya chakula. We really don't know what intention you have with Kenyans. Me as a Muslim, if I go to the mosque, I must speak the truth. You as a Christian, you go to church, but you do what Judas did. You do what Pharaoh did. What intention do you have with Kenyans? Na ninakuhakikishia, leta hiyo finance bill, tutakanyaga kukanyagana. Na hatutaipitisha sisi kama wanaazimio, kwa sababu unanyanyasa wananchi. Ingane ja chien moro moma wagirwa cha. Odwaro mana wuoyi machal gi jo kama. Mako ikagoge to koni wuoyo chunge pap. To king'iyo bathe koni.
The Empower gives you the loan based on your future potential and your skill set which you have. Imagine this, that you have the potential, you're confident in it. If you are you have lots of future, how you want to start, get there, all of that, but only
to chuo mawata maber kaka ng'amangongo majaduong donge. Omiyo chambwa ni kare. Baba kato dhi mana loka ka tuang'eyo ni nosepidho guogine ni kabiro gweyo ya kutosa. Mana kakunena amba temo ge kara kaka dhako chadoga temo. Tomogi kaka delegates mag ODM. Buche biro bedo. Welo biro limo uka. Waburo mana go kogno. Ni wakati baba alikuwa na shida, ulisimama na baba kiwango gani? Wakati baba alikuwa narushiwa mawe Mombasa, wewe ulikuwa wapi? Wakati Joho alikuwa anachukua baba mpaka na ficha chini ya kitanda yake, afadhali yeye hafe baba abaki, wewe ulikuwa wapi? Kwa herini. Jodala wadoko nuero kamano, kuombiro gisironyo, mondo warwak wendowa, mondo warwak nyathiwa, mwaluongo ni Ali Hassan Joho. Nyathi Mombasa ni be wuoyi, ndi chuny wuoyi. Ing'eni Islam ikawe namba 4. Kata ka in gi nyiri moko adeko, kecha Hassan ne kacha. Hassan wami ibro chulo wadhok bae. Tumekuja hapa kama wanachama wa ODM. Tumekuja kuhakikisha ya kuwa chama chetu kiko imara. Na kiko imara kwa sasa, aliyoko hapa ni Ali Hassan Joho. Ndio mkubwa kinara wa siku ya leo. Tunajua tuko na baba yetu. Tunampenda kuliko mapenzi. Lakini tunamuenzi na kijana wetu Ali Hassan Joho. Na Joho tunakuambia, sisi hapa kama Wajaluo, sisi uongojea tu firimbi peke yake. Na tumeshaona vile kunaendelea. Tunakuombea mema, Mwenyezi Mungu akupe afya, akupe uwezo na akuongoze uchukue hii chama pamoja na ndugu yetu mzee wetu Oparanya, akupe mawazo ya kiwazee na wewe utoke upiganie chama kwa sababu tunajua nguvu yako.
Watu wa Nyatike mjambo. Mimi nawaletea salamu kutoka Pwani, na Mheshimiwa Hassan Ali Joho anawapenda sana. Manake sisi ilikuwa tunaenda mahali ingine huko Harambee, akasema hapana, kuna viongozi wa ODM lazima nende niwasalimie mwanzo, ndio sababu tuko hapa. Nyinyi watu wa Migori mko na bahati sana. Huyu governor nilikutana naye University New York. Na hata huko New York wale wazungu walikuwa wanamrespect sana. Akiingia mahali wanasimama. Sasa nyinyi mwache mtu kama huyu, haki ya Mungu sisi wa Pwani tutasema mmemfanya wazimu. Huyu lazima arudi hapa 2027. Muko sawa? Hassan Ali Joho nilipambana naye 2013. Governor Mombasa akanichenga. 2017 nikapambana naye tena akanibwaga. Lakini huyu jamaa ni mtu na muheshimu sana. Manake siku moja huko Mombasa Port tumekaa kwenye jukwaa na president, akamwambia president, wewe president huwezi kuchukua bandari yetu over my dead body. Na kama kuna mtu anataka presidency, lazima uwe na nguvu, lazima uwe na moyo wa shujaa, lazima uwe mtu uogopi. Na huyu jamaa haogopi mtu.
The police have uncovered a drug trafficking operation at Danco Transporters.
This is what top dogs do.
You need to action.
Mimi namjua. Nimepambana naye mpaka tumekuwa marafiki, mpaka tumekuwa ndugu. Anafaa au hafai? Mbona mnasema kwa polepole? Anafaa au hafai? My friends, 2027 inakuja na huyu jamaa yuko tayari. Lakini mimi nimekuja hapa leo pia kulalamika kidogo. Nimekuja kulalamika hapa kidogo. Manake mimi nilizunguka na baba Nyanza nzima. Na kila mahali nikisimama nikisema kitu kimoja. Nikisema sisi watu wa Pwani tutatoka mpaka mtu wa mwisho. Watoto wetu na ndugu zetu na wazee wetu na bibi zetu, mpaka mpango wa kando tutahakikisha napiga kura. Lakini nyinyi viongozi hapa wa ODM leo munafanya recruitment. Hiyo kazi ambayo munafanya haina maana kama siku ya election mtu anakaa analala nyumbani. Kama watu wangetoka, huyu Governor Joho leo angekuwa Minister of Lands. Labda angenipatia ka ardhi kadogo hapo. Mimi ningekuwa Minister Industrialization. Lakini leo mimi na huyu jamaa tuna sota kidogo. Lakini sisi Waswahili tunasema yaliyopita tugange. My friend, serikali ni tamu bwana. Kweli serikali ni tamu. Unajua mimi nilikutana na Fatuma tulipokuwa tukifanya kampeni. Na tukifanya kampeni Nyanza nzima. Lakini sasa tizama alipochukua uongozi. Si amekuwa mzuri zaidi? Si anapendeza? Sasa governor akiniruhusu na mimi nitaleta ng'ombe pia. Na ng'ombe zangu zitakuja kwa helikopta. Mnakubali? Governor, umesikia hiyo maneno? Joho tu organize ile helikopta kubwa. Asanteni sana, mubarikiwe.
Know what you ought to do. You know what you ought to do next week. You know what you ought to do. God will guide you. You know what to do. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Father God, the Father of heaven and earth, we bow before you, Almighty God, the creator of man. Lord, we are the image of the living God. Everything that you will cover him with the power of the Holy Spirit in everything, and cover all the people as they will be listening today.